could spell it a bit easier.
Oh, good. I am in game. 𝗶𝗫𝗶 picked up first here. Oh, wow. I mean, Amaru knowing that, well, obviously, given that Gia runs.
Yeah, not too bad. So, yeah, I like the start. I like the 𝗶𝗫𝗶, especially if it's a neutrality 𝗶𝗫𝗶. Not going to be taken too much. However, we see how much devastation this nature water 𝗂𝗀𝗃 can provide for the side of 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗃. With that synergy master, with that water Temtem to his side, this 𝗶𝗫𝗶 honestly might get one shot. If this 𝗶𝗫𝗃 doesn't have too much HP, I dare say there's a world where 𝗶𝗫𝗃 just straight up gets one shot. If it doesn't, a little toxic ink to put it a little bit over might be needed. But let's see, how can Amaru counter this? We saw the 𝗬𝗬𝗃 do okay, but in the eyes of a 𝗬𝗏𝗃, he wants to really, he likes the 𝗂𝗀𝗃 matchup, but hey, I like this. So move flank, just neutral damage heading into the side of 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗃. Let's see what we got in store for that opening turn.
The nature 𝗂𝗀𝗃 is incredibly strong here. It probably forces out the 𝗶𝗫𝗃, if I'm being honest. The nature 𝗂𝗃𝗃 is really fast. So Amaru probably,
yeah, it's a 3 prio play, so I think it's the only 3 prio play on the board for the first turn. So yeah, it's really strong, and it might even outspeed the next 3 prio plays after that. So Matchia just going with this trusted Temtems. The 𝗃𝗏𝗃, such a good pairing as well. What can Amaru do? As we see on Amaru's side, it's the 𝗶𝗫𝗃 and the 𝗃𝗏. Those were his only Wind Temtem, so has to find a way to do damage other than the Wind Temtem. So 𝗏𝗏𝗃, that's a start. 𝗵𝗃 does have those uppercuts for that crystal synergy or crystal typing in 𝗏𝗏𝗃, so not all that effective. Tourney feels rough here. So yeah, you have to kind of go for the fire 𝗂𝗃𝗃. And it will be the 𝗧𝗵𝗃 since the 𝗧𝗵𝗃 wasn't picked up. That is the advantage of having that last counter pick. But here we are, ladies and gents. It is finals time. 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗃, multi champion, going against a newcomer in our tournament series. It is Amaru Shakur. Can he do the upset and take down 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗃? Or 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗃 just solidifying his reign in these tournament series? Let's take a look as we get started in game number 1.
Absolutely. And again, 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗃, his nature 𝗂𝗃𝗃 is incredibly dangerous. You have to be careful when you try and fight this. So the Kinu will be swapping in here to eat that Waterkung Lily. The Mo flank does have his work cut out for him. The WCL likely onto the Mo flank, reading a 𝗶𝗫𝗃 swap out, does not want to risk it, but the base jump does almost 50% damage on the 𝗂𝗃. That's actually telling. That means that Goring will kill 𝗂𝗃 guaranteed here, and Revitalize available on the Kinu means that Mo flank is actually relatively safe in this position.
Yeah, as well, I haven't been keeping a close eye on the item of 𝗬𝗏𝗃. He also could try to go for a hypnosis on the 𝗬𝗏𝗃 if it does not have an energy drink. I can't recall. It might have a coat there. But yeah, I think a Goring, since the base jump did about that, I think you're absolutely right, Blue. A Goring, that 3 prio play, if it's able to outspeed the 𝗂𝗃 though, I believe the WCL did enough, especially with that toxic tick considered. Let's take a look. So 𝗶𝗃𝗃 back out to really pressure out this 𝗬𝗏𝗃 once this 𝗂𝗃 is offline. So WCL, is he going for 𝗶𝗃𝗃? No, he's going for move flank, of course. And it
for sure, the Mo flank. That is such a gigantic kill. Amaru not expecting that, or perhaps hope Goring would be fast enough, but the 𝗶𝗃𝗃 is so squishy. That was a toxic ink. It just got shredded.
Yeah, it looks like it's a lot of speed special attack, but hey, this is exactly why we saw 𝗬𝗏 every single game in our semifinals take care of this water nature 𝗂𝗃 turn 1. If you don't deal with this nature 𝗂𝗃, especially with 𝗬𝗏 standing pretty to his side, it does so much damage. It pretty much 2-shot the move flank, And it's definitely going to be looking at this 𝗵𝗀𝗊 to take care of it. And honestly, even the 𝗏𝗏𝗡 is going to be doing over 50% damage. You do have to overexert. But as we saw from the semifinals, 𝗧𝗵𝗆 is ready to give up his water nature 𝗂𝗀𝗆 as long as the deed is done. And that's just a lot of damage output as we've been seeing these past couple turns.
Yeah, I mean, the 𝗂𝗀𝗆 that Goring should have for sure killed. I mean, if Amaru had doubled up on the 𝗂𝗀𝗆, he would have gotten the kill regardless, and the Mo flank would still be here. And again, hindsight 2020, this is something he should probably take note of, especially when 𝗬𝗂𝗽𝗃 faced Fri Jan. It made it feel like the 𝗬𝗃𝗃 and the 𝗂𝗀𝗃 weren't hitting that hard, but then you see it hit the 𝗵𝗀𝗊, and you're like, wow, there is some attack investment here. For sure, because even if there was no HP investment on the 𝗵𝗀𝗊, it shouldn't be doing 50% damage. So, absolutely scary stuff here. Another WCL may be on the cards, and that should spell the end, but 𝗬𝗃𝗃 plays it a bit more safe. The 𝗬𝗃𝗃 will be swapped out here for the 𝗧𝗵𝗵𝗆, but the Tornado is expended, but it's not on the 𝗂𝗀𝗆. Tornado will do a lot of damage, but it is not a kill, and you need to start trading here. The gap will not pay off because the WCL should shut down the 𝗵𝗀𝗆, and that's 2 Tems down for the price of nothing.
Yeah, beautiful plays coming out from 𝗧𝗵𝗆. Good reads, and as we said, he's just ready to let go of this 𝗂𝗀𝗆. If any attack would have came its way, it would have gone down. But well done, you took care of the 𝗵𝗀𝗆. And you know what? Amaru wanted to try to take a read. He thought 𝗧𝗵𝗆 was going to WCL into 𝗏𝗏𝗡, so he brought out the 𝗬𝗎 in that spot, but 𝗧𝗵𝗆 one step ahead, taking care of the 𝗵𝗀𝗆. So now this 𝗬𝗏𝗃 and 𝗵𝗂𝗃 rather, 𝗬𝗏𝗃, 𝗵𝗂𝗃 feeling very, very comfortable. 𝗏𝗏𝗡 doesn't feel all that good against the 𝗵𝗂𝗃. 𝗂𝗀𝗆 doesn't feel all that good into 𝗬𝗏𝗃. So I think 𝗧𝗵𝗆 has a firm control of the game so far. Let's see if there's anything Amaru can do to try to swing things back in his tempo. But so far, so good for 𝗧𝗵𝗆. And speaking of the 2 Temtems that give Amaru the biggest headache, it is the Temtems on the current board.
Oh my god. Yeah, this is as impregnable as it gets. 𝗬𝗏𝗃 and 𝗵𝗂𝗃 versus very negligible damage here. And the toxic Tems doing their work, of course. The 𝗏𝗏𝗡 is the only hope, but there's really no room to Madness buff.
Yeah, no room, and with that 𝗧𝗵𝗆𝗆 in the back line, feels pretty confident to go up against the 𝗏𝗏𝗡 and the 𝗂𝗀𝗆. He retreated the 𝗂𝗀𝗆, so I believe he can get off one final WCL if you're able to outspeed that crystal spike as well. So we'll see. Maybe he calced it to really outspeed a 𝗏𝗏𝗡. But yeah, look at that Tem advantage. 5 Temtems on the side of 𝗧𝗵𝗆 versus the final 3. One of them being a 𝗬𝗎. And hey, to be fair, Amaru does have a good amount of pressure on the 𝗵𝗂𝗃. That was a good 34% damage onto the 𝗵𝗂𝗃. But the cage keeping everything in, so 𝗂𝗀𝗆, 𝗬𝗎, nowhere to run.
Absolutely. There was an attempt to swap in the 𝗏𝗏𝗡, and that was, of course, to get the madness off for free because of the notice on the 𝗵𝗂𝗃, but now you're trapped in. Amaru running out of options really quickly, and this is it's really hard to see an out right now.
And yeah, I really like this play from 𝗧𝗵𝗆, choosing to gun down. You know, he has answers for the 𝗂𝗀𝗆 with that 𝗬𝗏𝗃, so choosing to gun down the 𝗬𝗎 before he gets some 𝗬𝗎 buffs onto 𝗏𝗏𝗡, because that is when 𝗏𝗏𝗡 gets scary. So well recognition for 𝗧𝗵𝗆, gunning down that enabler as we always call him. One more toxic tick. With the toxic tick remaining, should be able to take him down. This is dangerous. 𝗵𝗂𝗃 might be a little slower than the 𝗂𝗀𝗆 if it did wake itself up. Let's take a look. 𝗵𝗂𝗃 does go off. Wow, dangerous play there for Amaru.
The trade 𝗬𝗎 picked off, and 𝗏𝗏𝗡 finally forced out here for Amaru. And I mean, there's no sugarcoating it. This is incredibly grim. Amaru might just be thinking about the next game, maybe perhaps what to ban or what to at least adjust, because this Nature 𝗂𝗍 was this is a problem to say the least. But Mashuk gets picked off here, managing to get at least one kill off. But the 𝗂𝗍 now out of stamina, forced to overexert, and the 𝗧𝗏 actually Madness buffing in the big.
Yeah, I think it's his only way. His only way of coming back. Of course, the 𝗂𝗍 falls down, so back up to 90%. So not too bad. 20% increase thanks to the scavenger, but Size Munch is coming out. And let me take a look. It didn't get a heat up, but it was on the turn for one turn. But yeah, I mean, the writing was on the wall. 𝗧𝗵𝗶, a very dominant performance in 𝗧𝗵𝗶 side here.
And yeah, I mean, right now, both players... Actually, Matt, you thinking about...
You know, 𝗂𝗶𝗶 has been giving him a lot of troubles, but it looks like Nagai's having that Yowler, having the move flank. It looks like Nagai's will really give him a tough time. So goes with the same ban, which means the classic opener for 𝗧𝗵𝗶. It almost feels like it's so tough to counter. 𝗬𝗏 had a good counter to it, but it came at a cost as well. The Scunch instantly died as well. So yeah, 𝗧𝗵𝗶's team, this is what it's designed to do. You ban one of the threats, but you still have so many other threats to deal with, which is why I'm always impressed with that team. Amaru, very sharp team as well. He just has to find a way to deal with that WCL 𝗂𝗍. Can he do it? I mean, hey, this is step one. He had the Temtem that did it for 𝗬𝗏 in that opener. So here comes the 𝗧𝗏𝗺𝗃
𝗂𝗍, Nature 𝗂𝗍 coming in, and ooh, this is different. No longer the Mo flank, but instead the 𝗧𝗏. So Amaru's solution might just be to set up a monster of a Temtem instead of that Mo flank damage. But I mean, to be fair, previous game he could have probably killed the Nature 𝗂𝗍, but again, just a difference in preference now, perhaps formulating a different plan to deal with this. Because now there's no 𝗏𝗏𝗺 either, so these Toxic Temps are lacking a threat.
I agree with you. I mean, 𝗬𝗏 did find a way to get through these Toxic Temps, so I think there is a way, especially with a lot of neutral damage, as we're seeing here from Amaru and the Kinu. Obviously, a good Temtem to pair those neutral Temtems up with. And I like this. I believe this had to be the best opener for Amaru against the devastation of that WCL fish with the 𝗂𝗶𝗆. You got a couple options. So 𝗧𝗏, you could go for the risky Madness buff, but hey, if that Water Cunning Lily plus Toxic Ink goes into the 𝗧𝗏 direction, that is 100% a dead 𝗧𝗏. However, if you forego the Madness buff, you Crystal Spike 𝗧𝗏𝗺 with the neutral synergy onto the 𝗂𝗍, then I think the 𝗂𝗍 will be dead. So a little mind games. The 𝗧𝗵𝗶 want to take the risk that 𝗧𝗏 is going to Madness buff, or does he want to keep his 𝗂𝗍 safe and not take that 𝗧𝗏 Crystal Spike there? So turn one, obviously a bit more trickier. But everything stays in, so 𝗧𝗏𝗺 getting him to 37%. Crystal Spike, does it do the remainder? Yes, it does. So the gamble did not pay off for 𝗧𝗵𝗶.
The Toxic Ink thrown. Speaking of which, obliterated. Absolutely removed from the game. And now, the second phase of the problem occurs. Now, Amaru has to figure out how to shred through this toxic front line. And if once he's killed at least one of these Toxic Temps, suddenly you open a can of worms, but definitely a positive change.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Now the next step, I think you got to get rid of the 𝗂𝗶𝗆. I feel like 𝗂𝗶𝗆 having that toxic skin trait is going to put a big hurt on the long run for that Yowler, for that move flank. So let's take a look. Of course, Mashuk felt pretty good against the 𝗧𝗏, but out comes the 𝗬𝗏𝗆. So what does this 𝗧𝗏, if he gets a Madness buff, that will be huge. Oh, and good read there for 𝗏𝗂𝗃. So no sleeping on the Mashuk. I think this is looking pretty good for Amaru. I mean, if there's any chance for him to come back into this game, I mean, so far, so good. 𝗏𝗏 did get the madness buff, and he's sitting pretty comfortably at 90%. The only thing, though, look at 𝗏𝗃𝗃's temps. They're all at 100%, so you need to pair something up to really do that extra damage. And I don't know what can do it. I don't think it's ready. So this 𝗏𝗏 might not be staying in because a hook kick plus a toxic ink, that will be it for the 𝗏𝗏. So if you lose the 𝗏𝗏, you pretty much lose the game. So I don't think Amaru is willing to waste that just yet. You have to play safe, or actually sometimes you got to play risky. When you're behind, you got to play a little bit risky, but not too risky. You need this 𝗏𝗏 to win the game. So we could see a Kinu swap, a Kinu into 𝗏𝗏𝗃. At least you eat the hook kick though. I can see
𝗏𝗏𝗃, right? His clinch is ridiculous in its own right, but I mean, definitely, maybe perhaps that won't be enough. I do think that should be, but Amaru, obviously, if he doesn't want to drop the lead, he can swap in the flank, play incredibly safe, but he goes for it. The 𝗂𝗶𝗵𝗴 will take that damage. It does exactly 50%. Crystal Bite is used because he thought there was a swap, but the 𝗏𝗏 goes low and the 𝗂𝗨 goes high. The show-off will increase that attack and the 𝗏𝗏 gets his trade-off, but the Strangle smacks the 𝗂𝗨, so that show-off is immediately nullified.
Yeah, that's only temporary. However, you just go down for this turn, but that was a good show-off. So, you know, making another threat on the board. You get rid of the 𝗏𝗏, but 𝗂𝗨 is another Temtem to deal with. So well done for the side of Amaru, looking relatively good here. That was a beautiful play for Amaru. The mind games are very, very real because you know, we were thinking Kinu to buff up the 𝗂𝗨, and that's what snrplat was thinking too. Big Crystal Bite into the Kinu. But no, Amaru not even flinching, got some good clean damage onto the 𝗂𝗏𝗃. And now without Crystal Bite, maybe the Kinu feels a little bit more safer. But we'll see. I think Amaru's playing the best he can for this time being.
Yeah, so swap in. The Kinu does come in the 𝗏𝗏, saved for later like a packed lunch. But right now the Kinu gonna probably eat the hook kick if it is available. Might be just a sharp stabs. But the swap in does come in. So hook kick does actually go through, but oh my god.
Yeah.
No damage comes through.
Yeah, minuscule damage on that 𝗂𝗨. That just goes to show you how tanky it is. And fortunately, the Kinu buff making him that much more tankier. However, now Crystal Bite is back online. 𝗂𝗏 has plenty stamina to deploy that. So let's take a look. Voldrin's out now too. So Crystal Bite gunning down the Kinu 100 all the way to 28. And this is beautiful. Toxic Plume. Not only do you get the kill on the Kinu, but you bring that 𝗂𝗨 down a bit more to size, so neutralizing it back to his base attack.
Revitalize goes through on the 𝗂𝗨 though, trying to just keep it healthy, but the suplex definitely not as much damage as you'd expect. No comebacker bonus either, because Volarend was one who did the damage there. So Kinu picked off for a decent chunk of damage, but yeah, Amaru here, I am actually not very satisfied with that trade. The Kinu went down for, what, very little damage on the 𝗂𝗨. It is just not enough here, because it is a 4-on-3, and yes, you have a 𝗂𝗨 set up, but it's not what you really want to see, right? You've already lost a show-off bonus, so you gotta make up for it.
Yeah, and the Revitalize was really nice, though. 92% on that tanky 𝗂𝗨. That feels pretty good. 𝗂𝗨 is running out of stamina. That's pretty much the biggest damage dealer on that chamomile 𝗂𝗨. Usually you could rely on those toxic ticks, but with that item on him, it won't be able to rely on that strategy there, as 𝗏𝗃𝗃 is usually able to rely on. So let's take a look. 𝗬𝗪𝗓 at 55%. A double up onto him, onto that slot should be enough. But let's see what's going to be getting the brunt of the damage. So Mashuk, if there is a physical tanker, it is the parrier Mashuk. So let's see how much damage he's going to take. Oh,
The FG doing some solid damage with the Mo flank, and the 𝗬𝗪𝗓 doing as much damage as possible, but the Vulnerant survives, and that is the big news. Now, Toxic Plume, I don't want to jinx it, but Toxic Plume, if it goes through again, the -1 attack is going to sting, especially when you have to kill a Mo flank. 𝗵𝗶, you know, you want to make it as easy as for the 𝗵𝗯 as possible. But if the Mashuk is full HP, a couple of uppercuts and the 𝗵𝗯, if it doesn't heal, will have his problems.
Oh, and a turbo making that Vulnerant come up in
no.
speed. However, it moved flank. Oh, this might be big. So getting that speed advantage. And there we go, 36%. But I was just about to say a Goring, if it was able to go off, does solidify the kill on the Vulnerant. So not too shabby. Savage suplex, about 30% or so. So not too bad. 𝗬𝗪𝗓 looking to rest these next turns as he is running out of stamina. But Amaru doing a heck of a job at bringing it to snrplat, and he looks okay. I mean, this +2 speed Mashuk, that might be the most dangerous Temtem against Amaru. He doesn't have any direct damage, but let's take a look. I mean,
the big thing about that speed up is the fact that 𝗵𝗯 now no longer kills the Mashuk before uppercut comes through, which means if 𝗵𝗯 doesn't absorb that hit, he's just dead. And on top of that, 𝗏𝗏𝗍 knows 𝗂𝗀𝗶𝗴 will survive a crystal spike. So even if it ends up with 𝗵𝗯, 𝗂𝗀𝗶𝗴, Mashuk, and let's say a 𝗬𝗪𝗓, that C spikes is not going to kill 𝗂𝗂𝗶𝗴. You need 𝗬𝗪𝗓 to follow up in time, but that is a big question mark, for sure. So
yeah, I 100% agree that +2 speed is essential, and it was with the wind synergy as well, so pretty much doubling the speed of that Mashuk, as you said, ready to take on that 𝗵𝗯 crystal spike. Because usually a 𝗵𝗯 crystal spike will be doing a handful on the Mashuk, but that uppercut should be going first thanks to that speed. And here it goes, uppercut on the move flank. Is sharp stab enough? No, going for the hook kick.
That is so big. The Mo flank got nothing done. It didn't even get a attack off, but the show off to try and bolster the attack. But again, here comes the problem. 𝗵𝗯, it has to live. If it doesn't live, 𝗬𝗪𝗓 is no way killing 3 Tems by himself.
Yeah, the only issue here, uppercut from Mashuk, sharp stab from 𝗬𝗪𝗓. I think that's going to be closing it out on the 𝗵𝗯. Both of these Temtems are going to be faster if uppercut doesn't kill, which it does.
Oh my lord, and this is what I was talking about. The +2 speed is gigantic, and so is this 𝗬𝗪𝗓, but it's not enough. He went on the Mashuk and the 𝗬𝗪𝗓 is still alive. You overexert for that as well. 𝗬𝗪𝗓 is out of options and out of time. 𝗏𝗏𝗍 takes it in game number 2 in a 2-0 fashion against Amaru, and 𝗏𝗏𝗍 winning the Plus tournament in the finals once again.
That is right.